Okay, so we've got this whole stack of notes and sources you sent over. Today, we are definitely diving in. The plan is to really sift through everything, pull out the key bits, figure out what actually matters here.
Right, exactly. Cut through some of the noise.
And today, yeah, we're leaning wild. I think we're going headfirst into that whole public drama with Cardi B and Offset from late 2024, all based on the material you gave us.
Right. So our job basically is to take these sources you've gathered, find the signal in there. We need to map out the sequence of events, really analyze the dynamics described, because, your sources themselves say this was, and I'm quoting here, darker than anyone expected, and it's not what you think.
Ooh, okay. That definitely grabs your attention. These are two names, Cardi B and Offset. They're already kind of synonymous with, chaos, passion, music, scandal.
Yeah.
It's all there in your notes. But it sounds like the back half of 2024 was different somehow. More personal, way more public. Left fans stunned, according to this. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so where do we start? Late 2024. What do your sources say was the spark? The catalyst for everything?
Your notes point straight to Offset on Instagram Live. That's where it kicked off. And the description of his actions, his words, it's pretty detailed. He didn't actually name Cardi B, apparently.
No.
But his tone, the specific words he used, the timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, your sources are clear. Everyone knew exactly who he meant.
And the accusation itself, what was the core of it? Because that's what seemed to blow up.
Yeah, this is where it got really heavy, really fast. He accused Cardi B of cheating on him.
While she was pregnant.
While she was pregnant, yeah. The sources absolutely emphasized that timing, that specific vulnerability.
Exactly. And what stood out, according to your notes, was Offset's whole demeanor during this live. He sounded, sure of himself, like absolutely certain.
Yeah, no hesitation.
No hesitation, wounded, definitely angry, but totally convinced he'd been betrayed, deeply betrayed.
And the reaction online?
Instant. Total explosion. Your sources say within hours, Cardi's name was everywhere. People demanding answers, wanting her side.
But Cardi's response, what do the sources say about that? It wasn't the typical celebrity crisis management playbook, right?
No, not at all. Not the big statement, not the exclusive interview. Your sources describe her choice as deliberate silence.
But not total silence.
No, punctuated by these really cryptic social media messages.
Your sources even pull the quotes. One was just, when lies become louder than the truth.
And the other one, the devil works hard, but the internet works harder.
Wow. So no direct denial, no explanation, just these sort of loaded phrases.
Floating out there, exactly.
Yeah.
And the effect of that silence, according to the notes, it just amplified everything, made it all louder, just poured gasoline on the speculation fire. Fans were completely torn.
How so?
Well, some saw it as strength, refusing to engage, refusing to dignify it, but others, they read it as guilt. Like, her silence was the confirmation. She couldn't deny it directly.
And to really understand the weight of this 2024 situation, your sources argue we need to look back.
Right.
This wasn't the first time infidelity claims were part of their public story.
Exactly. You have to rewind. Your notes bring up 2018 quite clearly. Back then, the roles were reversed. It was Offset facing the cheating accusations.
Right, I remember that.
And your sources recount his very, very public attempt to win her back, famously crashing her Rolling Loud set with flowers, that huge public apology.
Yeah, that was everywhere.
Yeah.
And the sources say Cardi did forgive him then, took him back. But they raised that question. After something so humiliating, maybe, do you ever really forget?
It's a fair question.
So now, fast forward to 2024. The script is completely flipped. Offset's the accuser, and your sources really highlight that he did it when she was described as being at her most vulnerable pregnant.
Yeah.
The notes mentioned for some people watching, it felt just plain cruel. For others, maybe remembering 2018, it felt like, like karma.
A very complex dynamic. So the big question hanging in the air, based on your sources, was there any truth to Offset's claim this time? He didn't exactly quiet down after that first Instagram Live, did he? What did the sources say happened next?
No, he definitely kept it going. Added fuel to the fire, as your notes put it. A few days later, he posted this Instagram story. It's deleted now, but your sources captured it. He basically doubled down.
Saying what?
Claiming he had seen messages, that he knew the truth, things like that.
And this seems crucial from your material. Did he offer anything concrete?
That's the key point. Your sources hammer home. Still no proof. No screenshots shared, no names mentioned, just these vague threats and digital breadcrumbs he was scattering.
Okay, so Offset's escalating with vague claims. Meanwhile, what about Cardi? What were the subtle counter moves your sources picked up on? You said she stayed mostly quiet.
Mostly, yeah. But not entirely passive. There was that one selfie that got a lot of attention.
Ah.
Your notes point out no caption, but the look. The description is a sharp look and a presence that said, "I'm not backing down." A visual statement.
A statement without words.
Exactly. And then came that tweet. The one that just seemed to land like a bomb.
Oh yeah. You mean the "you don't respect a woman until she stops respecting herself" tweet?
That's the one. Your sources emphasize no names tagged, no hashtags.
But everyone knew.
Everyone knew exactly who it was about, instantly.
And the internet's reaction to that specific message.
Total frenzy, according to your sources. Completely split opinions again.
Oh, so?
Some people saw it as Cardi finally drawing a line. Like, I've had enough, I'm done with this toxic cycle. A moment of empowerment, maybe.
Okay.
But others, they were still convinced it was deflection, a way to shift focus, a sign she was hiding something. Sources basically described the internet at that point as a battlefield of opinions.
Right, just warring interpretations.
And just when you thought maybe, just maybe, things might settle down or become clearer, your sources say another layer of complexity got added. More rumors started swirling, specifically about Cardi B this time.
Okay, what kind of rumors?
Well, your sources mentioned specific whispers, her being seen texting an NBA player, then other fingers pointing towards a well-known music executive.
Right.
And again, your sources are really clear on this distinction. Nothing confirmed, no receipts, just more talk, more noise, muddying the waters.
And while that was happening, your sources also mentioned something else popped up, right? An old video.
Yeah, an older video of Offset resurfaced, not from 2024.
What did it show?
Your notes say it was from some time before, showed him at a party, getting far too close to a woman who definitely wasn't Cardi. His own questionable behavior, basically.
And even though it wasn't new footage,
your sources describe it as incredibly timely. Its reappearance right then. Well, for a lot of people watching this whole thing unfold, it immediately cast doubt on Offset's credibility.
right, it makes you ask those questions your sources pose. Given his own history, was his accusation maybe just projection? Was this a way to shift blame, maybe deflect from his own past? Or even present actions?
Exactly. See, this is where piecing together everything from your sources, the accusation, the silence, the cryptic stuff, the history, the new rumors, the old videos coming back, it reveals something deeper is going on. Like your sources say, this stopped being just about cheating pretty quickly.
Yeah, what your sources really argue is that it evolved. It became about something much more tangled. It was about pride, about control. It was about these two huge public figures essentially trying to outmaneuver each other in this very private war that was having very, very public consequences.
And what's so striking reading through your notes is how neither of them actually gave the full story. Your sources really emphasize that. There was no sit-down interview, no tell-all, nothing definitive.
Just the silence, the cryptic posts, the subtle digs, all playing out in real time for millions.
Yeah, leaving fans, just like your sources describe, reading between the lines, obsessively trying to piece it together themselves.
And your sources kind of float this idea that maybe that's the real story here. Maybe it's not about who cheated or who lied, ultimately. Maybe the more interesting thing is watching how far two people can unravel under that intense public gaze while everyone else watches, guesses, and picks sides.
Your sources definitely circle back to that point, Cardi and Offset, always larger than life. But in 2024, it seems like the relationship itself cracked under a spotlight brighter than ever.
And whatever the actual objective truth of the cheating claims might be, your source material concludes that something fundamental just broke between them that year. Whether you call it trust or ego or just the sheer weight of time and fame, something shifted irrevocably.
But your sources end on this really dramatic, almost cliffhanger note about them. They say, the ending is never final. The silence never lasts. And the next twist, it could drop any minute, and they wrap it up with this observation. Because this isn't just drama. This is Cardi B and Offset. And when their love story burns, it burns in front of the whole world.
Wow, okay. That's quite a picture painted by the source material.
Yeah, that was definitely a journey through the notes and sources you sent. From that initial shocking accusation by Offset on Instagram Live, through the whole public spectacle that followed, the silence, the cryptic messages, the jabs, their shared history, casting this long shadow, all those rumors swirling.
And underpinning it all, as your sources kept highlighting, that lack of a clear, definitive answer from either of them. Just ambiguity.
And digging into your material like this, it really does highlight some fascinating things about, well, relationships in the public eye now, in the age of social media.
Yeah, how conflict isn't just private anymore. It's performed, it's curated online, and how we as the audience engage with it, interpret it based on these fragments we get.
Absolutely. Seriously, thank you for sending over all these sources for the deep dive. Gave us a lot to unpack.
Definitely did.
And it leaves us, and maybe you listening, with this kind of provocative thought to chew on, right, from the themes in your sources.
Huh.
When a story like this plays out so publicly under the constant glare of social media, does the actual objective truth even matter as much anymore? Or is it more about how the truth or the perceived truth, or maybe just the drama of it all, is performed, packaged, and consumed by millions? What does that say about our relationship with celebrity, with information, and maybe with drama itself? Something to think about.